All right, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 5:30. We have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. If I may, let's stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, I'm afraid you do this now.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Renee, if you would, call the roll so we can see who all's here and get that recorded.
Renee Manita, I'm going to do the roll call. Karen Andrus. Carl Baracco. Here. Derek Botana. Absent. Joseph Cruz. Here. Reggie Henderson. Present. Ron Inge. Here. Christy Knight. Matthew Lincolnhall. Here. John Paul. Here. Christopher Robin. Here. Lane Sarlo. Absent. Sawyer Smith. Present. Shane Spring. Here. Andrew Sund. Absent. And Bridget, I'm going to destroy your last name. Terrio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Bridget to the Conservation Lands Committee. She has just joined us. This is her first meeting, so welcome. Tell us just a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm born and raised here in Fort Myers, working with Passerelle and Associates, and have been doing so for the past 5 years.
Very good. Thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome. Happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from the November 15th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? Are there any corrections? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Karen Andrus.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cruz. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Acquisition review. We have several items on our agenda tonight. Items A through H are all in the same vicinity and all fairly closely related, so staff is going to review all of those together, and then we'll take public input, and then we'll consider any action after that. So, Mr. Clemens, you want to go forward on those?
Sure. As Ron has said, items A through H are all within the CREW boundaries. In total, these properties add up to about 195 acres. The score is 79 for them each, and as such, staff is recommending to proceed with acquisition activities for these parcels. Any questions?
Okay. Seeing none, we'll entertain any public comment on nominations A through H. I won't read them individually, but I can if someone would like. Please come forward to the dais at this time if you'd like to comment on items A through H. 8 items in the CREW Trust area. Anyone wish to speak to the committee? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Would anyone care to make a motion to recommend that we move forward with possible acquisition of these and have a second?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Second.
Okay, we had Mr. Cruz, Ms. Andrus, and Mr. Smith, so we got a trifecta here. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Next item is nomination 129-3 Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve infill 2 acres with a score of 37. Mr. Clemens.
Yes, this parcel is in the Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve area. As you can see, it's on the west side of Burnt Store Road. It is surrounded by county-owned properties, and staff recommends we pursue acquiring this property just because it's an infill, and the fact that somebody might come in and try to build on it or whatever would cause additional pressure and concerns for us from a management and operations standpoint. Anybody have any questions?
Questions of Mr. Clemens or staff? This is on nomination 129-3 3, Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve infill, 2 acres. Would anyone in the audience care to address the committee? If so, please come forward on this nomination. Seeing none, we'll go back to the committee. Would anyone care to make a motion to recommend that we move forward on parcel 129-3?
I'll make a motion that we move forward, please.
Mr. Cruz? Second. Second by Mr. Smith. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item is nomination 636, similar area, Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve infill. It's 1 acre with a score of 37. Mr. Clemens, please give us an overview.
Yeah, and this is the same scenario as the one before. It's surrounded by county-owned property, and staff recommends to pursue acquisition of it for management and operational purposes.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Sure. Looking at the overhead, what's that structure that's there? So, you can't see it, that's why I want to look, I couldn't tell, but,
If you see those 3 parcels in between,
yeah.
those are improved properties.
Right, so how do they have access to that property?
They have legal access over an easement that starts up in the Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve that is
Okay.
owned by the state. So where the cursor is, that is where they gain their access onto their ownership.
So do they actually cut through our land now or already? Okay, I'm just curious.
They
Can't see.
do cut through our land. They do have easement rights. One of them does not, and we're addressing that matter now. So, they do have quasi, and some have fixed easement rights to it, as do the 2. The most westerly property has legal access via a defined easement. The one to the east does not, but that doesn't preclude them from coming back at some point in time and causing us issues if they try to secure a way of necessity.
I was just curious about the structure, if it was
Yeah.
actually a
But
permitted, allowed structure, that's why I wasn't sure, just was looking at it.
Permitted, I don't know.
Okay.
They are physically there.
Okay.
Just to clarify, on nomination 636, that has a structure on it,
That one does not.
but it's the out parcels that do, is what?
Correct. Those other
The ones that are
internal 3.
not part of it.
All right, thank you. Okay, any other questions of staff on nomination 636? Would anyone in the public care to address the committee on nomination Charlotte Harbor Buffer Preserve infill, 1 acre? Please come forward and speak at this time. Seeing none?
Was that me? 636. Sorry about the parking thing, yes.
Sir, are you here to speak on item 636? Nomination 636?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Please come up to the mic, identify yourself, and the mic, the floor is yours, sir. You timed that perfectly.
Sam Lurie, Master Parker. I had to pay. The code did not work, just for your information. I'm the owner of the property. And it is within the Yucatan Preserve there. And I'm willing to sell it possibly for market price. That's why I'm here today. And I'll be available if anybody had any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Although you missed it, staff talked about that parcel and recommended that we move forward with consideration of that parcel. So you missed that, but just to let you know. Anyone else in the public care to talk or speak on nomination 636? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment on item J, nomination 636. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll move the item.
We have a motion to recommend that we move forward on that. Second by Matt Lindenhall. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. That carries. Thank you very much. Next item is nomination 640 in the vicinity of the Columbus McLeod Preserve, 12 acres. Mr. Clemens.
This parcel is on the river. There is a restrictive easement along the river, probably held by South Florida Water Management District or the Corps. It wouldn't necessarily affect the use of the site, other than if we wanted to put docks or something like that out there. And if the county were to acquire it, that'd be something we'd address as part of our overall ownership. But as for now, I don't see it as an impediment of going forward to acquire it. Staff recommends to pursue acquisition of this parcel. One of the biggest benefits is that it is riverfront property.
Any questions of staff? Carl?
What is the benefit to 2020 of it being riverfront property?
The fact that it meets many of the scoring criteria that we have for Conservation 2020, in general, it gives us more waterfront access.
And I think you said that there's an easement along the waterfront?
If you look up there, you see there's at the north end of it, that'd be the approximate location of, there's a lot of Corps of Engineer easements and South Florida Water Management easements along the whole of the CLASAC.
And what is the crosshatched area?
Excuse me?
The crosshatched area, what is that? Is that part of the park?
That's running through the river proper. That's shown as part of the right-of-way of the CLASAC River when they created the expansion in, what was it, the 30s?
So that crosshatched area is the parcel to the west is undeveloped.
Talking about the orange.
The orange one.
He's talking about the conservation.
Orange crosshatch.
That one I'm not aware of. I haven't looked into that particular
Is
property.
that part of this, though?
It is not, to my knowledge.
Okay.
The map shows it's part of it, and it says it's private development, conservation easement. Does you see the red?
Okay. I'd have to check that and see if that's in there. If it is, it looks like it's already a conservation easement, which would be something if we were to pursue this for acquisition, the price would reflect that impediment on that property.
So we're not sure if that crosshatch is part of the property, but if it is, it most likely already has a conservation easement on it.
Yeah, I don't have the nomination here.
Chairman Hinge, I would just like to add one thing to the discussion.
Please go forward.
What Mr. Baracco has to ask is always, it's got invaluable consideration for this board, but I would just like to say that when I was 13 or 14, I caught a snook right on that island that is one of the largest snook I've ever caught on the east side of downtown Fort Myers. Wow. And I would like, for the future of our community, other kids like I was at that age, 12, 13, 14, to be able to do the same. And as we lose this part of our river to the benefit of parts of agriculture, and also like the record reflect that I am an agriculture person on the board of the Watermelon Association, but it is nice that we have this type of conservation in our river. We cannot straighten everything. We cannot give it all back to the benefit of majority owners of the land around the lake, and it is nice that perhaps one day a son or daughter of mine, and if it's another child of mine, it would be a miracle, but it is nice that maybe one day, an offspring of mine can catch a snake the way I did, right next to that island, right off the dock on that island. So it has nothing to do with the ranking and scoring other than this is our town, this is our community, and we are, and Ms. Andrews will tell you, despite the rules, we are here to protect and preserve and conserve our natural ecosystems, and this is one of them. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Any
sir.
further comments? I guess my comment would be,
If there's no more information, I just have one more question.
After that?
It was very good. Have we seen this before? This parcel?
Never seen anything like this, Carl.
We're not showing that this one. If you see the numbers where it's like this is 640 and you see a -2, then that would mean that's the second time it's come
Thanks.
up.
Okay.
so this is the first time then.
I will add, if this comes back, we will clarify that boundary. I'm looking at it again. me being a little bit colorblind, I can't see I look at it closer, I can see the red boundary now. So this is indicating that that is part of it, but we'll make certain of that if it's brought back with a purchase agreement.
Well, I think that's a good question, because that would make a difference, I believe, in how you look at this parcel. And also, I'd be curious as to what y'all think you might do with it. Sawyer talked about the opportunities for fishing and all those other things, river access, all right? Is that the plan, or is it one where we're just going to leave it? I'd really kind of like to know what y'all are thinking about. So, anyway, any other comments from the committee? This is nomination 640. It's 12 acres on the river, shown on the map there, near the Columbus McLeod Preserve. Would anyone in the audience, anyone in the public care to speak to the committee? Please come forward, ma'am. Identify yourself for the record, and the floor is yours.
Good evening. I'm Sherry Wheaton Morris, and I'm a born in Fort Myers resident also, and have hiked. Actually, I've had 70 2020 hikes since I retired a year and a half ago. I would love to see something like that available to hike. We do Olga Preserve, and that's a very small piece, but to walk out to that river, I don't have any other access to the river, but to be able to do that. So I would be very excited to see something, and even if it's just maybe not docks, but just trails, and just have it where we could actually have some river access. That would, as a resident, I would really love to see that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Anyone else care to speak on nominations 640? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll close the public input. Any further comments from the committee or any action there related to parcel 640?
I'd like to move the item.
We have a motion by Mr. Smith. We have several seconds.
Oh, we all
I
second.
think Carl said he'd like a second.
Mr. Robin, Mr. Cruz, and Ms. Andrus, all three second that simultaneously. I don't know that they're excited about this parcel, but who knows? All right, any other comments? We have a motion, we have a proper second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay, that passes with one dissenting vote. Mr. Bigelow. Mr. Baracco. Excuse me. Next item is nomination 641 in the Bob James Preserve. It's 40 acres. Mr. Clemens, please give us an overview of this parcel.
This parcel is a 40-acre tract of land. It scored 50 points. As you can see, it's fronted on three sides by Conservation 2020 existing ownership, and staff recommends to pursue the acquisition of this parcel. It is farm fields, but it is very much similar to those three adjoining properties in its topography and characteristics.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Clemens on this parcel? It's nomination 640 adjacent to the existing Bob James Preserve. Ms. Andrus.
I just think it's a no-brainer since we own everything around it, that we should go with it.
Hold that thought for just a moment until we finish public comment. Anyone else? Any other? Any other comments from the committee, please? Seeing none, would anyone in the audience care to address nomination 641, a 40-acre parcel as shown on the map there, adjacent to the Bob James Preserve? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll come back to the committee. What action would you like to take, Ms. Andrus?
I'd like to make a motion to move it forward.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Cruz. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? You guys were shy on this one.
I wanted to give someone else an opportunity.
Fair enough. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carries unanimously. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is an annual report by Mr. Young.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Preserve Annual Report highlights from Annual Report 2022-2023. Acquired 17 acres. Preserve Annual Report. Treated exotics was 8,729. Controlled burns was 72 acres. And trapped hogs was 413 during 22-23. Conservation 2020 2020 total land acreage is 31,432. Total acquisitions up to date, 157. Total preserved to date is 52. Total acquisition funds balance is $41,597,336, and management fund balance is $862,029. And also I want to report that we had two of Conservation 2020 properties got approved in our last board meeting on the 16th. One with the CLASAC River, CLASAC Creek Preserves, 51 acres in North Fort Myers, and the other one was south of Collusive Land Trust and Nature Preserves with 20 acres. That's it.
Thank you very much. Any questions of Mr. Young?
Was that 51 acres something we looked at like 2 years ago?
No, it was probably around September.
Mac, so you treated for exotics 8,700 acres. That's a pretty big chunk of land. What all methods did you use on that?
If I can get Rick to bring this up.
Mostly it's contractors that we have. Usually it's spot treatments for maintenance events. They go in with spray buggies. They use boom sprayers on areas that have exotic monocultures and grasses. They do hand treatments for all the woody species, backpack spraying. We won't typically do any equipment work except on initial acquisitions to have big infestations of like that very much.
If you would please identify your name for the records.
Yeah, Rick Bauer.
Okay, thank you, sir. I want to make sure that got on there because hopefully the minutes, these are picking you up. Any comments on the report from staff? Seeing none, thank you very much for that. Any committee member items that you would like to bring forward to discuss? None were presented early to make it to the agenda. Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up, staff to consider? All right, hearing silence. Public comment. Would anyone in the public care to address the committee at this time? If so, please come forward.
Hi.
Oh,
Behind you.
man, I thought that you were hiding back there because you were not going to talk at all.
Good evening, Barbara Manzo for the record, representing the Eyes on 2020 Conservation 2020 Coalition. I just wanted to report to the group, if you did not see the board commission meeting yesterday, today is Wednesday, right? Yes, that was yesterday. The Commissioner Ruane did bring forward the Redfish Point parcel in Cape Coral, which is a 350-acre, highly environmentally sensitive area. And he did bring it forward, and as a champion of the issue, he asked staff to please investigate the possible purchase of this 350-acre parcel. And so we are very, very pleased and wanted to make sure that you were all aware, and that wanted to say to Robert in his next steps down the road to see how far he can get with the owners of the property, that we are here to help. We highly, heartily recommend this parcel, 350 acres on the river, very environmentally sensitive. I heard your impassioned speech about the river, and this is not only on the river, but the mangroves and the protection. This is an area that, had this area not been there during Hurricane Ian, the folks who did get floodwaters in their homes behind it would have probably totally destroyed. So we are just thrilled that the commission is looking at it. We hope the city council members and everyone involved here will come forward and support this property, because this is something we just can't let slip through our fingertips. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you for that input.
I didn't know I had to fill out a card or anything.
That's okay. We'll let you talk anyway.
Okay, good. My name's Eileen Venezia. Thank you. I live right by Piney Point, and yes, if that wetlands and the highlands weren't there, my house would have been much more flooded than it is. And we're thrilled that Commissioner Ruane has proposed this and brought it up to the board yesterday. I was there, and we hope that Conservation 2020 looks into it. I'm a member of a group called Protect Our Wetlands in Cape Coral, and we have every kind of documentation, notice going back and forth between the owners, the representatives of the owners, the plans they want to make, 800 residential units, 300-room hotel, parking, offices, restaurants, right smack dab in the middle of wetlands. They want to tear down mangroves. They want to put up a boardwalk right around the edge of it and have signs about how wonderful and important mangroves are, and they just want to cut them all down. There's a lot of wildlife there, and it's right on the river, and we would love for it to be protected forever and never developed. If anybody has any questions, need any information, there are people who are willing to take you on walks back there, and you can see how high the water is, even in the dry season. And the idea that they'd have to cut a 100-foot wide road through conservation easement land just to get to it, because there's no way you can get on through a road. They want to do a 2-mile, well, I'm trying to think of how, 2 acres of road, and they'd have to bring it up to whatever height. You have to bring in trucks of dirt and cut down the trees, and then they start building. So it's a complete environmental disaster. And the idea that they're even considering it still after the hurricane is beyond me, because the water came over that land right from the river, right into the back of my house, and I got 7 inches of water. And if that land wasn't there and it was all developed, my house would have been totaled. So thank you. If you need any information, let us know. I also work with Barbara. She's with another group, but we know everything going on.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else care to address the committee? If so, please come forward. Seeing none. Next item on our agenda is to set the next meeting date, Wednesday, February 21st, 5:30 at this location. Do we have any other comments from the committee? Mr. Clemens, just a question. Was Commissioner Ruane bringing that forward, and then talked about that particular parcel? Is that one that's been submitted? Because as everybody knows, it's a willing seller program. We can't go out and force someone to sell their land, but what's the status of that?
It has not been submitted. I sent notifications out today about 3 hours ago soliciting the specific property owner and whatever contacts they had that may be affiliated with them, be it a real estate broker, engineer, or spokesman. So we sent solicitations out.
So you're fishing, so to speak.
I'm fishing.
At this point.
See, I caught a bigger snook around there than Sawyer caught on the other side.
By the way, the joke was, that's not a big damn snake. You missed it, Ange. You missed it.
I know. It's not the first time. All right, any other comments, any thoughts? If not, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Moved by Mr. Bracco. Do we have a second? Mr. Robin, we have motion second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Thanks, everyone from the public.